Okay, so hello everybody. How's everything going? So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm always sitting thinking, and I realized that I don't have a problem with giving. Like I told you before, I kind of, not even kind of, I wiped out all the relationships that I had. I went through the pruning phase of my spiritual awakening. I went through my pruning phase, and in the pruning phase, they got a lot of people dropped off. A lot of people, even some people that I thought was going to be there forever, they dropped off. And now it's like it's like hello, hello. It's like an echo in the hall, in the great hall of my kingdom. It's like hello. There's is it's hollow, you know. But what I'm starting to notice is the seats are starting to be filled up with different people. And this is like one of those vulnerable videos for me because it's like they're starting to fill up with other people, and no one can beat me at giving. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't found someone who could beat me at giving yet. I giving like and loving and stuff. I haven't found that person yet. So it's like I can't wait, but I haven't found that person yet, right? Who gives to me more than I give to them. I haven't quite found that person yet. At least in the physical. So I was sitting here and I'm like, no one can really beat me in giving, but my issue is receiving. Like a lot of people have problems giving. I don't have a problem giving. Like, especially if I have it, I can do it. It's no skin off my back because I could do this shit with my eyes closed. I created a clothing brand for my friend just on a whim last night. It's like, it's in my blood. It's nothing to me. But receiving from people, ah, oh, it makes me itch. It makes me itch. It makes me itch. It fucks with my nervous system. And trust me, I know there's certain things that I need to clear out. There's things that I need to, the childhood wounds and all those other stuff. Yeah. But guess what? Guess what? While you're getting and finding these things, your spirit team is like, hey, we're going to send you this person and they're going to just do stuff for you for no fucking reason. And you're like, what do you mean? And it's like, you get scared and you don't quite trust it because it's like, yeah, they're doing this now, but then it's like, when I start to like, are you doing it for me to drop my guard? Like what are you like what like friend or foe? What, like, who are you? Why are you here? And receiving is difficult. It's not impossible for me, but it's one of those things that I have to be like, okay, bitch, relax, relax. It's okay. It's okay. Yes, you're not used to people doing shit for you, but yes, it's okay. Yes, you're not used to people going the extra mile for you. It's okay. You're not used to people surprising you and just, with flowers. Relax, relax. It's okay. I have to talk to myself. What I don't do anymore is just not trust it and be like, no, and then shut it down because I was like that too. And I realized that you can lose something really important doing that. And when someone gives freely, the way you give freely, accept it. That's where I am right now. It's like, it's accepted. Someone's giving something to you, and it's something. Because, yeah, people used to give shit to me, and it wasn't what I wanted. Like, I was like, I want this. What is this? What the fuck is this? I went through that, and that's not the stage that I'm in now. I might not want it exactly how they give it to me, but it's just like, I'm okay. And it's like, and I've never had people watch me before. Like, I like pay attention, like, hey, what's wrong? Why you look so sad? And I'm like, oh shit, you noticed I was sad? What the fuck? Like, and then like you notice that it's like it's hard, like it's hard for me to even talk about, because it's hard for me, because it's like, is this like a countdown before this shit goes to shit too? I'm, like I said, we're still working stuff out. We're still trying to, not even trying. We're still like using my books to do the clearing, using my app to clear this off. I know that this is not supposed to be here. Just let's this, or if you didn't know, this is not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be able to receive without question, like receive and be like, I'll be okay. I'll be okay whether they stay, or I'll be okay whether they leave. I'll be okay whether it was a trap, or I'll be okay if this is what they really wanted to do for the rest of their life. I'll be okay. It's like, that's the center that I'm looking and working and clearing different trapped emotions and whatever else is inside the blueprint, the vessel, so I can clear that shit out. Not just the vessel, but the software, because this shit got into everything. It got into the hardware, it got into the software, it got into all the stuff, and I realized that it's important to receive as much as you give. Because if you don't receive as much as you give, you are breaking the law of even exchange. And it's not fair to the other person. That's what I learned. If you're like, no, 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 it's okay. And you're doing that not because you don't want it. You understand? But you want it, but you're saying it's okay because you don't trust it. And it's like, I've said this was a couple of years ago. I made that video where it's like, you have to trust you. And I'm learning to trust me. I'm learning to trust that I will never betray myself again. I will never allow someone else and their comfort to be more important than my own. I have apologized to myself. I have people like, oh my God, you got to forgive others. No, I need to forgive myself, because I allowed a lot of things to happen that shouldn't have happened. I allowed a lot of wrongs to happen for me, and I just ignored it because I wanted that relationship, and that relationship wasn't even that great to begin with, and I only wanted a relationship because I had the craving validation loop. Now that I don't have that, it's like, oh, okay, you don't want to be with me? Okay, that's fine. It may sting a little bit. You're like, like, oh, that hurt. It makes, don't think that, oh my God, love and light, nothing's going to hurt you ever again. That's not true. It's going to hurt. It's still going to hurt, but you're going to say to yourself, that person wasn't supposed to be here. You understand? That opportunity wasn't supposed to be here. Even if you miss a bus, that's not the bus I was supposed to be on. That's how I kind of live. It's not even kind of, that's how I live my life. It's like, do I get the oh God, I got to stand here for the next, of course. Don't think that you are not a robot. You understand? And even now the robots are being, trained to feel. So it's just like, you are a person. You are going to feel shit. Don't judge it. Just feel it. Don't judge it. Feel it. And it's just like, that's how I can get on here and be like, yeah, I have an issue with receiving, because I know there's still things that I need to clear out. There's also, and this is the part that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Yes, I have a lot of things to clear out. No, not a lot of things, because I've been doing a lot of work. So yes, I have things to clear out. But I also need that person to change the code, because and I said this before, there is a code that in trauma or in pain, you can rewrite all those codes. You can rewrite all the codes. You can fix, you can clear, you can do all those other things. But if someone does not come in and rewire the part where the person physically damaged it, it's not going to quite be the way it was in its default. Does that make sense? Because it's like, I'm trying to think, can I use myself as an example? Okay, I'll use because you see me, I'm like, the vulnerable shit, this vulnerable shit is too much for me. It's too much for me. I tell you, it's too much. But yeah, so if I'm divorced, right? And everything that happened in my marriage that hurt, that made me cry, that like, you don't deserve a Mother's Day, and the you're not a good wife, even though you did everything that you could. I did everything that I could. You know, that yes, I cleared the craving validation loop, the divine delay loop. I cleared a lot of shit that I picked up because I was in that marriage, especially for as long as I was in it. Until someone comes and treats me completely different than that person, that code will never be rewritten. It won't. There will always be that smidge, that residue, that no matter how clean you can get there always needs to be a person who comes in and has the last code. That person has the last code. That person has the last code to rewrite it. And I probably won't even remember I was married before. Does that make sense to you? It's like, and people are like, oh my God, you got to do something by yourself. You got to do it. No, that's not how, if that was the case, we wouldn't have been made in pairs. Yeah, if that was the case, we wouldn't need each other to reproduce. You understand? If you were meant to be by yourself, this is for someone specific, if not just for me. If you were meant to be by yourself, we would not need each other to reproduce. We would be able to just be like, I want a kid. Poof, here's the kid. You understand? Here's my nugget. You understand? That's what would happen. That's not what happens. We are built in pairs. Even in divine counterparts, we're built in pairs. There's two of us. And there's two of us for a reason. And I'm not even talking about body. I'm just saying two energies. They're built in pairs. So it's like, if you have an energy with you that is not your match and they fuck something up in here, you need your match to come fix it. It's kind of like you can't ask the plumber to fix the air conditioning unless he fixes or she fixes air conditionings as well. You can't do that. And the way that looks is like this, right? I know we're drifting off receiving, but this all ties in. There are a lot of people that I have met, right, that are younger than me, that did the work. I watched them do the spiritual work. I watched them do certain things, right? And they were clean, but there was still there was something. And then I would look at them and like one of them, you need a mom. You need a woman of stature and a woman who knows who she is, who's important, who feels that you're important and shows that to you and gives that to you and has that motherly love. I am the mother of a lot of people's children, and am I their biological mother? No, I will never replace their biological mother, but I'm the person who goes back in and fixes that code and been like, no, you were never a horrible child. You were just a child. You were a child. That wasn't your responsibility. And you know how I know that? Because I went through it. I went through abuse. I went through neglect. I went through certain things. I don't broadcast it because I only talk about it when it's relevant, but there are a lot of people around me and that are being sent to me that I'm here to rewrite that code. I'm here to teach them how to rewrite that code for themselves, because I became my own mother. I did. I became my own mother, because I felt like every time I received something from another woman who said she was going to rewrite that code, it was bad code. It was worse code than the first one. And I was just like, which made me even more angry at the time to my real mother, because I was just like, you got me in these streets looking for a replacement and you sitting right here. I was so angry about it. I was so angry about it because the shit that I was receiving from these people in the beginning, it was, oh, let me take you under my wing, and da da da, and all this other stuff, and oh, I love Keisha, and all this other stuff. But when I started to grow and outgrow them, that's when the problem started. So this is for some, especially if it's a female. You're falling out with that person because you're outgrowing them. They brought you in with them at a certain level. You understand? You were naive. I'm talking about myself. You were naive. You didn't know. You needed love. You know, people don't understand the power of love. And that is something I know. People don't understand how the power of being loved properly can catapult you into places and things that you never even dreamed of, because someone loves you. And it doesn't have to be a bunch of people. It could be just one person. It could be one person that says, I'm rooting for you. One person that says, you know what? You can do whatever you think you can do. If you couldn't do it, you wouldn't have thought it. Go get it. You understand? Having that code in your system on a day-to-day basis, you're unstoppable. That's why they don't like it. That's why you get sent karmics and shit. But what happens is, when that person kind of does that for you, you start to elevate, because it's like a hot air balloon. They put heat and you just start going higher. But what I found would happen to me was, I was here, they were here. All of a sudden, they started to love me and show me different things, and I would learn and I would grow, and I would, oh, that's cool, and that's funny, and oh, this is great. Look at me. They did not like that shit. They did not like that shit. They didn't like that shit. Me, I'm like, oh shoot, you're higher. Okay, how did you get there? And I want to, let's collaborate. Let's blah, blah, blah. And because that's just me. I like when my people elevate, because that's the whole fucking point. You understand? They elevate, I elevate, because it's like, and the thing is, or they elevate, my mission is done, I can go to somebody else. I can go do something else. Does that make sense to you? So it's just like, but what I found with the people that I received from, once I outgrew them in that area, it wasn't good. That's when the started. That's what it feels like. I don't even know. There's no word for it. It's just and and it's just like, and then every time they see you, they're rolling their eyes, and you're like, what is happening right now? And then the relationship shift. People tend to love you when you are helpless. When you are no longer helpless and you really don't need them, but you want them around, they don't like that, because they only hung around you because you needed shit, and you weren't at a caliber that you are now. So when you were the naive, I don't know what I'm doing person, you were easy to digest. You were easy to control. You were easy, because I was everybody's weapon except my own. It was crazy. So that is what happens. And when you receive that type of thing, it fucks with your system. Does that make sense? It messes with your system because you're just like, but you loved me just last year. What happened this year? What happened this year is you started a podcast. What happened this year is you have a website. What happened this year is you're wearing your own clothes, your own jewelry. This is what happens. This is what's happening. They wanted to do that. They couldn't, or they didn't. They could have, but they didn't. You, and I can speak for myself. If I can think it, we can do it. Like there's times I know my spirits be like, here we go. Cause I'd be like, I wonder if I can make my own hair oil. And I did, and it was like, and then it would be like, and I would see something on television. And I'd be like, I wonder if I can make that, and we have the tools to do it now. Before we didn't. Now we do. So I try. There's usually not a lot of things I wouldn't try, but yeah, receiving's difficult for me. It is. And I think it's because I haven't cleared some stuff. That's one. And I also, the people to rewrite the codes is still coming. They haven't all fully arrived yet. So it's like, that's what it is. You don't quite trust things because there hasn't been a person who's been consistent. There hasn't been a person who's physically consistent in what they do. They're not here. So once that person arrives, your nervous system is going to be like, oh shit, so this is real. It's not a fantasy. It's not something I made up that like people will treat you the way you treat them. That's not just cliche. That's actually something that happens. Your nervous system needs that. Every part of you needs that. The part of you now, the part of you who was a child when it happened, that 7-year-old, she needs it. He needs it. That little kid that will find out from that person that no, love is real. Love is real. Love is something that is, and it's not something that you need to earn. It's not something that you can be loved just by being yourself. You can be loved just by waking up and being you. Even if you is messy. I have a hard time with that. I'm an assistant by trade. So everything has to be polished. Everything has to be right. Everything has to be perfect. And when it's not, it fucks with me because I'm just like, I made a mistake. I hate making mistakes. Granted, that is something that's dwindling because it was trapped emotion. It was trapped emotion that was put in by someone I worked for. I remember one time I said to him, I do make mistakes. He's like, you're not supposed to. I was just like, oh, wow. And I was like, okay. But for me, I wasn't strong enough at that time to be like, yeah, you bugging, so I internalized it. I received something that I shouldn't have. I internalized it. And then I worked for a commissioner that saw me for who I was and who I wanted to be. And he just allowed it. He was just like, you be you. Don't be someone else. And he was like, I made a mistake. And he was like, it's okay that you made a mistake. And I was just like, really? He's like, yeah. He rewrote that program. He rewrote the program and made me understand, no, you're really good at what you do. It's like, this is not bullshit. You're really good at what you do, and he rewrote that program because before it was just like everything was my fault. No matter what happened, everything was my fault. And I had to make sure and fix it. Granted, it made me a kick-ass manager. I am a really good manager, both in my home and at work. People may not like me, but trust and believe it's run like a well-oiled machine. But yeah, he rewrote that code. He rewrote the code of you have to be perfect to be appreciated. You have to be perfect to for people to acknowledge your presence and stuff like that. And you feel the way you feel today because no one has come in yet to rewrite that code. And because you're like, I'm doing all the work, I'm doing all the clearings, I'm doing all the healing. I don't understand why I still feel like this. Because someone has not come in to rewrite that code. Someone has to physically come in to rewrite that code. If not, you're going to always have it. And I know a lot of you are like, oh, don't use absolutes. You're going to always have it. You're going to always have it because your nervous system's never going to really relax until someone comes in and is consistent with giving. And let me help you. If the person who broke you or damaged, I didn't say broke, but damaged that code, right? If it was like for me, it was a marriage, it was a romantic relationship, it can't be replaced with a friendship. Does that make sense? I know I lost a couple of people, but if you were hurt or have an issue here, and it's like with a romantic relationship, friendships can't rewrite that code. Like, yes, that friend could be consistent. That friend can show you that they love you and they think you're the shit and all that other stuff. It's not going to rewrite this code. It's not the same code. It's two different codes. This code can only be rewritten by a person you're in love with. It can't be rewritten by a person who's your friend. Even if that friend is the best friend you can ever find. He or she cannot rewrite that code because it was damaged by someone you let in romantically. That's not the same. Does that make sense? So, like for me, I need that. But the funny thing is, a lot of people like myself, there's damaged code all over the place. And that's something, the more I clear, the more I'm starting to realize that. I'm like, this is not going to fully be healed until I have a friend that comes in and rewrites that best friend code, that I had a best friend that kind of just turned on me and believed something that she shouldn't have. And instead of coming to me and asking me, this is weird. People don't come to me and ask me. They just believe shit. And I tell people all the time, if you hear something about me, come see me. I will tell you. If I said it, I will tell you I said it, and I'll tell you why. I ain't scared. Like, I'm grown. I'm like grown. I am not scared of anyone. If I said it and I did it, I would tell you I said it and I did it. Point blank period. But yeah, people really don't come up to me. So anyway, but yeah, she believed something that she shouldn't have. And instead of coming to me and asking me if I said it, she just believed it and ran with it. But then what that tells me at this stage, she wasn't supposed to be in that seat. But now that seat is empty, and it's like I said, hello. The throne room is very empty. And I don't know if it's a bad thing. I don't know if it's a good thing. But I do know that the people who are coming in now, the receiving part is the hardest part for me, not the giving. The receiving part is the hardest part. It's something I'm working on. And I'm working on it by using energy clearing. I'm working on it by talking to myself and not judging myself. I'm working on it by just knowing that people are human and they make mistakes, and not every mistake or everything that you don't like, meaning me, that I don't like, doesn't constitute that person's a bad person. Because I was around so many bad people, And I really don't think they're bad. It's funny because my friend said to me, I don't think they're bad people. They just don't know. And I'm like, that's the one I made. That's the one I made the design, the clothing line for. He's a lover of humanity. He protects, loves humanity. So we made him a design label called Humanity. You know, yeah, he said, I don't believe that they're bad people. They just don't know. And, you know, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right that people really just don't know. But at the same time, just because they don't know does not mean that you should allow them to do anything and any which way or whatever that they want to do to you, you know. So I know this video helped. It is 30 minutes, but we're going to cut it up so you guys can get the meat and potatoes and stuff. I love you guys. Stay up, stay blessed. Deuces. And I'm out.